many a times I've had to crawl down into a trench box and we're breaking into a structure, and I see the guy sitting on a bucket, chiseling in. And if you get down there, and I told him, yeah, you mind if I do that? And he looked at me like I was crazy. I put on the helmet, everything, and I started chipping through this. It was only 15 minutes later. I was pouring sweat. My muscles felt like they were going to lock up. I don't think I'm a weak guy, but it just gives you that perspective. Like, this is what this person has to deal with.
Welcome to the Canary Report, the podcast where risk leaders, safety professionals, and operational executives come for real-world stories and smarter strategies to keep people safe. I'm your host, Michael Zhao. In each episode, I sit down with exceptional leaders who are transforming how risk and safety are managed. Whether you're a leader of a nationwide EH&S program in a high-risk industry, or you champion workplace safety across 200 retail locations, this podcast is for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Canary Report, where risk leaders and safety professionals and operating executives share real-world stories and smarter strategies to keep people safe. I am your host, Michael Zhao, the CEO and founder of Yellowbird. Today I have with me, I am delighted to say, Josh Brown. Josh is a great human being. We had a fantastic pre-call. His background is very interesting. We're going to go into some of it, so I won't give it all away, but he works for B&S Site Development. They're in the Mid-Atlantic, heavy civil and construction world. His responsibilities are guiding and leading and driving safety practices, better productivity, better production work, and basically safety culture. They're across multiple sites and multiple states and multiple locations. And first and foremost, we are going to start with the most important thing. After I say welcome, we are going to start with who you are as a human being, because safety and business, in my opinion, is a human business. It is not a regulatory business. And so I'm excited to hear who you are, Josh. And so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you having me. Who I am is Josh Brown, is what I like to think is just a human-centered leader, professional, who I'm just looking out for my fellow humans, because that's what we need more in this world, more than anything, is somebody who actually is going to look out for you. So that's how I've always been. I've always been open, and some would even say emotional, but in a good way, right? Like, I care about what I do. I care about the people that I serve and lead. And, that's just what you're getting out of the box with Josh Brown.
I love it, man. I love it. And you know what? Emotional is good. Those who don't embrace that are not the people you want to have around you. So before you became Josh Brown, the professional and safety leader, who were you as Josh Brown, the young guy, and the journey that got you there? Let's talk about your life, your family, your early days all the way through.
Yeah, so I'm from a little hole in the wall in Western Pennsylvania called Newcastle, Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Pittsburgh. I went to Slippery Rock University. They have a safety management program, so I graduated from there, went through safety, played football mainly my entire high school career and into college. Played some other sports too, but football was always my favorite sport and my, what I cared about the most. It also taught me a lot of, I played quarterback.
What position?
Actually.
Good
I was actually a quarterback in high school. Yeah. So, and
awesome.
Not to mention, we weren't even that good of a team. So we lost a lot, but that built a lot of character. That built a lot of character. And I had to learn very early that, loss is part of the improvement cycle. Like, you can't just win. Otherwise, you're never going to grow. You're never going to learn. And so I kind of attribute some of my success to that. Maybe it was a hidden chip on my shoulder, if you will, but it definitely was a source of motivation for me. As far as family, I got 3 kids. So my wife, Sharice, love her. Actually, we have our 5th year anniversary tomorrow. So
congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Like it?
Yeah. Appreciate it. I have a 12-year-old son, Cash. I got a 4-year-old son, Bodie, and a 2-year-old daughter named Aurora. So like I said, no shortness of busy at this house.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic. So Cash is, he is 12, you said, correct?
Yes. Correct.
And so he's in, what is that, would be first, second grade, third grade? I don't know what my grades. What grade is he in?
12 is more like the
yeah, you're right.
sixth, seventh.
Yeah, sixth grade. What am I doing, man? Don't mind me. I've got a 16-year-old. I got a 16-year-old, and she's a junior in high school. So why I couldn't do that math is beyond me. But yeah,
we're safety guys. We don't got to worry about math.
Numbers. What are those? So, so what is he into? Is he playing some football? Is he doing?
Actually, he is. Yeah,
good?
He is. 12-year-old kid who wanted to get into it. His first year, he got into it, didn't know how to play, and so that stifled his eagerness around it. And then, wanted to encourage him. He wants to play the fancy, positions like a quarterback or receiver, which I don't blame. I don't blame him. And he finally got his shot this year to do that, and he threw their team's first touchdown pass. Really nice long pass, and it was really incredible to experience with him. So that was cool.
Dude, those are the moments, man. My son played baseball, and we played many games before he hit a home run. And it was, I never forget it. It was the moment. You just get one of those in your life, and the first touchdown pass or the first home run or whatever it is. Those you don't get a second. I mean, you'll get a second, but there's no second first, right? So, well, wonderful. So your younger ones are keeping you on your toes. You're still, chasing them around. I'm sure. So, and your wife of 5 years, 5 years next week. So exciting stuff. Congratulations. Now, where did you two meet, and what's the story there?
So I had moved from Pennsylvania down to Virginia after my internship. And I've been living down in the area since I graduated. And I eventually started moving out towards the Williamsburg area of Virginia. And we ended up just meeting out, getting food one day. And I slid her one of those napkins with wrote my number on it, all cheesy like. And I never heard back from her. And I was like, that was probably a bad move. And then it was 2 weeks later, she must have found the napkin and texted me. And I was like, oh, well, I wrote this off. And that was history ever since. And so it was almost like a destiny brought us together, if you will.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. You know what? I often say, the younger folks, I'm much older than you are, and I was around before online dating and before all the easier parts of dating. But now people can go on multiple dates and do multiple, try different things, have coffees and so forth. Honestly, as much as they want, given the technology opportunities. I mean, it could be weeks or months between the time you got the courage to go and ask somebody. And so the fact that you did in person, wrote that down and kind of had that moment of rejection and waiting or whatever. It wasn't even rejection. It was like you thought it was.
I took a shot, man. I don't know if it's going to pay off, but I went for it.
You took a shot. And you know what? I love that story. And I think it's a story that not enough people have these days. That you take it in, just like the losing football team. You've got to be able to ask people out and have it not work. And realize you're not going to die. You're not going to end up alone.
It's okay.
It's going to be okay.
Breathe. It's all right.
Well, I tried that once. It's like anybody who ever says I tried that once to me. Yeah. It's like, well, let's adjust, but don't just give up. Come on.
That's
all
right.
right. So you went and studied, safety in school. You were actually among, I'd say in our industry, there's probably about 20% of the folks that are in our industry went through school with an intention of doing this for work. What got you into it in your schooling specifically?
To be honest, I started as a business administrative minor or a major, and I was going through that and I was having conversations with our head coach, who was actually, at the time when I was playing, he was also the chair of the safety committee. And so he asked, hey, what are you doing? What do you want to do with your future? And well, my dad owns a business. That's what I want to do. And he's like, great. Probably from here, you can manage a McDonald's. I was like, I don't want to do that. And obviously it was a joke, but he was trying to sway me towards the safety side. And my answer to him was, you mean like Band-Aids and stuff? I had no idea what this safety thing was. And when he started explaining the safety management side, interacting with people, talking, how to influence change, how to lead, I was like, I probably could do that. And so I dove head first. So I made a choice. I committed. I was like, I don't know what this is. I did minimal research, and I'm glad that I took that jump, and I'm glad that I pursued it. It's been nothing but exciting and, lucrative and just beneficial to me.
It's such an interesting statement because I just had this conversation yesterday. My son's 21. He's studying architecture. He loves it. He's doing wonderfully. And I'm the only father on earth I'm like, will you please stop working and get out and just have some fun? Like, go on a date, go out to the bar. He's 21. He just turned 21, and he's like, go take advantage of being young, and he loves it. But he's very rare. Like, there's not a lot of people who found their thing. But he definitely, I believe in my heart, he has found something that's going to fulfill him. And I'm so happy with that. When I was a kid, and when most of us are younger, you're coming out of school, I say kid because I'm an old guy, but when you're coming out of school, you work where they hire you. Not even what you, at first you're like, oh, I am going to go and I'm going to only do this. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm just going to throw my resume everywhere I can and hope somebody will give me a job,
That's right.
And then,
you get humbled real quick, right?
Yeah. And then, and sometimes you're very fortunate, like you get into an industry that is fantastic and you love it and find your way, and it's a booming business, and you happen to fall into something backward by luck. And sometimes you could be with the most successful buggy whip manufacturer in the world, and you're like, I am stuck in a no-win industry, but I was told I was supposed to stay for 2 years or 3 years because I need to get experience,
right?
Or
like
more,
10,
right?
15, right? That's what the formula is, and it doesn't match up with everybody.
No, it really doesn't. And so I try to say, be selective if you have that chance for that reason. And what I love about our industry, and you are an example of the exception to that rule, a lot of folks were doing the jobs. They were doing the welding. They were doing the construction. They were running the forklifts and the cranes. And they got knighted as the safety coordinator of the site. The safety director, the safety VP said, "Hey, who can be the representative for safety on the location?"
Who's going to handle this?
They're like,
who's going to handle this?
Sure, I'll be the person. And it was kind of a double job, right? And then they loved it, and then they moved into it, and I think that's more common in this industry than
there's nothing wrong with that either, Mike. I mean, those are the best people to teach the workers. I mean, they do the work. They inherently understand the risk, and they know the shortcuts that they're going to take. Call it what it is, right? And so you can have that open dialogue and at least explain to people, like, I know you could do it this way. It would save you time. However, like, here's the risk, and we got to outweigh that. And those conversations definitely sit well with the field from that perspective versus, here's the degreed kid coming out of school telling me, "Here, this is what my book says," all the jokes, and so stuff like that.
And often those people are also the ones, those people, but you're not that person. But they lean on the authority and the safety cop mentality instead of the kindness and the grace and the understanding, right? Because if you haven't done the job, then you're like, well, I'm better than that. I've gone to, it's like, no, you are not better than that at all. Quite the contrary. So tell me about B&S. So tell me about your company and what y'all do and where you do it and all that stuff.
Yeah. So B&S, we're a site development company, established 2003. So we do a lot of the underground utility installation, earth moving, all the dirt. We move all the dirt. We will do E&S controls. We will do like site sidewalk and grading. And then usually we come back in and help with like seating and strong at the end. But our bread and butter is dirt and pipe, just to put it bluntly. And we work on we're not a data center only company. However, call it what it is. It's a huge market, and we've done 250 data centers so far under our belt, and we have anywhere from 20 plus active at any given time. So we are leading the charge.
Yeah, it's funny. We have right now, just at Yellowbird, we have active full-time contracts for over 35 different safety people at data centers alone. 35 people at different locations as a safety supervisor that are Yellowbird professionals. And because it's insane. Well, we got a couple of them. I'm like, and they were the big names, the big G and the big A, and the people we know
I'm with you.
in the data center worlds. But then before you knew it, we were getting the construction groups they needed safety supervision. We have people on the land side that are saying, look, we need somebody full time. It's part of our requirements and we don't have people to meet that requirement. And so it's really shocking to me, this whole data center side.
It's huge.
Yeah. And so it's funny. So you're in the DC area and then some, you do lots of other things.
And I forgot to mention some of that. So we're headquarters out of Manassas, Virginia. That's where our flagpole office has been set. We opened up an office in Richmond. We have an office in Columbus, Ohio, which services the Midwest region. And we just opened up an Atlanta, Georgia office that's going to take care of that Southeast quadrant. So for everybody listening, we're coming to a city near you type of deal.
There you go. I love
Excited.
it. I love it. That is exciting. And, it's complex. You've got different people and different, not only regulations, but also just having people that know the environment down there or over there or up there, wherever it happens to be, is the piece that is the most difficult, in my opinion, on executing good quality programs, is having the tribal knowledge of being in the community. And, even those who use their full-time employees, they have a home and they have a place they work daily, and it's generally not where they in every place, it doesn't work that way. Right. And so, and interestingly enough, so you mentioned Richmond, Virginia and Manassas, and I'm actually, my background, my first job, you talk about getting your first job and figuring out your way through. I was a kid in the 90s, mid 90s. So as I said, I'm much older than you are, but I was in the fiber optic and data center world back then, but there were only a handful of what they call peering locations, peering points, which is where all the fiber went together to have the internet, the new thing called the internet, come together. And one of those was in Tyson's Corner. And the only data centers were in Tyson's Corner up there. So we had, we did Tyson's Corner, and then we went, we had Northern California and Southern California, Los Angeles, Palo Alto, one in Houston, and then one in Tyson's Corner. And that was the whole internet was that back then. That was just that. Those peering points, if you wanted to connect one network to another network, you had to land at one of those locations, and even internationally. And so it's so funny because now 25 years later, almost 30 years later,
where it brings us back to,
yeah,
it's like,
and you're in the same thing, still building the same infrastructure that we were doing back then. It's kind of a fun full circle piece for me, just to kind of think that, wow, it's still going the way that we started it.
It is. And congrats on the 35 people, by the way. Like, that's a big thing for you guys in your company, man. That's big. Congrats.
Thank you so much. It's, we have been, internally, we actually have less now than we did even when we did that, because we've hit a point where we're able to optimize for sales and marketing and have less people that it takes to build. It's kind of, I always liken it to say, and we have the power of 7,000 people on the platform. And so we're able to, and growing very rapidly. Like, we do fire safety inspections, and for maybe one of the big A companies I mentioned earlier, and we're going to DCs and data centers and distribution centers, and doing these things, right? We're going through and we're doing all these assessments, and leveraging that with under 30 people is really a powerful thing. And, it's what I'm most proud of is kind of like the world you come from, where, you can be a general contractor and you can have staff, but you have subcontractors and you have people. And how do you know you're getting quality? And what is your process for onboarding?
That's the biggest challenge. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. And that's what we solve for. That is the thing that we continue to try and improve, is how do you know what these people actually are, and their quality, their insurance, their background, their expertise. AI's been beautiful to help us do that. So thank you for the congratulations. It's, the thing that when we had our first conversation, the thing that I took from you, which has become so obvious already in this conversation, is the empathy and heart you lead with. And that is not easy in the construction world. Now, how have you kind of handled that as you're growing and as you're expanding and doing these things, keeping the authority and respect while being gracious and kind?
How do you stay grounded? How do you realize that you are going into what used to be a really male dominated industry? They've done really, really well with now being inclusive of a lot of females. I see we have female operators, superintendents, laborers. I mean, it's beautiful to see that growth because, I mean, everybody can do that type of work if they want to. And then it gives them an opportunity to expand their life, right? And so that's how I've always looked at it is, maybe you didn't take the degree route. That's fine. You don't have to. I've met some of the best safety professionals, in my opinion, who never ever went to school. The woman who led me, my first professional boss, taught me that empathy, right, from the mother side, but also taught me like the fierceness of protecting, those around you, and don't allow people to tread on you type of deal. But never in a combative manner. It was more of like, can you understand why they're frustrated with this? And if the answer is no, well, then maybe you should go find out. Maybe you should walk in their shoes. Many a times I've had to crawl down into a trench box and we're breaking into a structure and I see the guy sitting on a bucket and he's, chiseling in. And if you get down there and I told him, yeah, you mind if I do that? And he looked at me like I was crazy. I put on the helmet, everything. And I started chipping through this. It was only 15 minutes later. I was pouring sweat. My muscles felt like they were going to lock up. I don't think I'm a weak guy, but it just gives you that perspective. Like, this is what this person has to deal with. So coming over here saying, hey, make sure you do this. It's like, you're not going to get received well. Let's just call it what it is. Why don't you go find a different approach to get the resolution that you're looking for? So putting yourself in the person's shoes to answer your question is how it's gotten me to here, is because you have to understand how the work gets done.
I think that is the best answer you could have possibly given. And I think that is very likely from your football and your background of having great coaches, because that is coaching. That's having a great coach. It's, it's not just screaming at somebody. It's like, kids go through all kinds of things, and my kids have both individually, and I think most of us have at certain points in our lives gone through anxiety issues and dealing with stress and anxiety and tension and all that stuff. And I actually said this morning to my wife, we're having a conversation around this subject, and I said, it would be like you go into somebody's in the middle of an anxiety attack and say, don't be stressed.
Yeah. Why are you stressing out?
Yeah. Stop it. It's like, well,
thanks for that advice.
I mean, if I could do that, I would, but I'm in a situation here. And so like every now and then you have to just put the lens of the other side on and just understand that even if the answer is that you think you may have a solution, maybe you should take a moment and take a beat to say, is this the right time also?
So I was just gonna say, like, as leaders, safety professionals, whatever, executives, for yourself too, it's just we have to. It's not about us. I mean, yeah, we made it to where we're at. Yeah, we're doing, but it's not about us. It's about those in our charge. It's about getting them to where they want to go. By no means do I think I've topped out at my position at my age. I'm going to keep shooting to the moon. Would love to be some sort of CEO, sure, whatever's in store. But it's not about me though. It's about the people that I lead and the people I take care of.
And that's how you become the CEO. That's how you become the leader. You don't climb on top of other people. You have them realize that you're a great leader and they'll get put you in a better position, or be a great leader and then realize it's time for me to do this on my own. Either way, you don't do it by pushing people down. We talked a moment ago, and a little vulnerability on my side, about the downsizing of the business. We're venture capital backed, and when you do venture, you raise enough money to get to the next pivotal point. And generally speaking, you get short on cash, and then you raise another round at a higher valuation, and everybody makes money on paper, and then you do that. But timing has a lot to do with all that. And if your sales are
growing great and your marketing is perfect and your execution is awesome, you don't have any problems.
No, it's
Maybe.
going good, right? It's going good when it's going good, but
right.
but when it doesn't,
your timing, you could have all that, and yet the timing of when you're going to run out of money, which everybody in a small business has a time that they will run out of money if you're growing. You just have to have access to capital, which is part of business. And the reason I say all that is that we hit an inflection point, and I realized that we need to change the headcount in order for us to serve our clients better. And I had the opportunity to graciously let people go, but also gave them the comfort to get their options vested over time, long period of time, give them an exit that gives them time, all the things. And every single one of them was thankful and very kind to us. And I didn't expect it. But, when somebody thanks you for the opportunity to work, when you're letting them go, which is the hardest, worst thing that I have to do, especially when it's not their fault. That's the thing. Let's be honest. It's easy to fire somebody when they've really screwed up and it's like, oh yeah, we both know, or they are just doing something unethically or otherwise. Look, ramifications of actions I have no problem with. But when you're like, this is on me. Like, I failed them.
it's a tough pill to swallow, man.
It is. But I bring it all back to the part of having empathy and having respect throughout the journey. Like every single one of them, without question, not only thanked us, but also we're making an active effort to get them landed safely without having a gap in insurance and income and all the things that we need as humans.
Pain points. The pain points of humans. Yeah.
Right. So changing subjects, because I didn't need to make this about me and Yellowbird, but it's an important, piece of the equation of people know, look, on the outside, I don't believe in being fake. And I don't believe on having everybody go, oh, you guys are crushing it. You're always doing great. Everything's awesome. It's like, yeah. On the outside, it looks like that.
Yes.
And there are days that I'm like, we're being so successful that paying my professionals, I'll pay 200-300 professionals for different jobs.
Yeah.
And I'm paying them and I'm waiting 60 days for my customer to pay me.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're like, what? Well, didn't see that coming. So back to your journey and your company. And I'm sorry, I didn't want to go down the Yellowbird piece. So you're now expanding. So you're going down you're opening up Georgia. You opened up these other facilities. When you open a facility, what does that look like? What does the team that opens them look like? How do you facilitate not only doing the just normal job of what you do for work, but also the safety job of how you protect the people and put programs in place to keep them safe as you expand? How does that work?
Yeah, that can be seen as challenging. And most times, you're breaking into new markets, call it what it is. And so you're going to get a little bit of that. The best way that I can explain it is if you create like a modular type of program, right? That is our overarching, this is what's important to the company. These rules will very seldomly change, or we think that they're important enough that these are like our staple type of rules and programs. Well, you develop that and then you use that to then make whatever your site specific or state specific, in this case, programs that may be different, or, Virginia versus Ohio, Virginia versus Georgia. What are the differences here? And so instead of reinventing the entire wheel, you just take what we know and what we own, and then you just add slightly whatever the state requires. And the reason why we chose this is I've been and seen 400-page safety manuals. I'm like, dude, nobody reads these. Like,
well, we read
call it what it is. I understand it. When you get to a certain size, there's a bunch of liability and stuff. And again, for a lot of folks who work for, you have these big, robust programs. It's like, but people aren't going to read them, and then they're not going to follow them. And then it's going to become a pain point on the job. So if we can make it relatable, if we can make it, the word I've been using internally is consumable. Like, make it consumable for the people so that if you don't have to think as hard, it makes sense. It's like, okay, I understand that. And, that can be challenging at times because everybody learns differently. Everybody comes from a different educational background. You don't get all the time, like everybody's just coming through college. It's not how it works. So you have to be able to adapt and train to what they need. Going back to, it's not about me. I could put all these programs together and it makes sense up here. But if the field level folks can't understand and implement, then it doesn't matter.
No, it's so true. It's so true. So I was funny you should say that, because I don't even know if you guys, by the way, and I tell everybody this on the podcast, and I truly mean it. I have no idea if you're actually even a customer or not. It doesn't matter to me. I wanted to have this conversation with you regardless of whether you are or you aren't. But the people who operate safety like you do are our best customers. And the reason for that is because when you have a framework and you say, okay, this is what we expect, this is what success looks like. We're going to create a training program or a survey program or whatever else. That's ours. We want you to go help us execute it, do quarterly trainings, do, monthly walkthroughs, do whatever. Great. But if you don't know what success looks like, I won't know what success looks like. And you'd be surprised on how many times I have conversations with people who are like, oh, don't worry, your professionals will know what to do. And we're like, really?
It's a great assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance that I can send somebody from a underground trenching environment to do a walkthrough on safety
Electrical
protocols,
stuff, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, whatever, like that. Whatever it is. Yeah. And then send them to a clean room down the street and say, don't worry, they're the same. You know what to do. And it's like, no,
right.
Those are not the same.
Yeah. It's actually funny that you bring that up. I was having in the past, I had I don't want to say spirited conversation with one of our general contractor partners, but there's an entire program that was written from the context and perspective of, call it that's why I use the electrical, because we don't deal with electric, we deal with dirt and pipe. Like electricity is a no-no for us, right? And so when things get put and perceived in that one context, to my point earlier about you got to understand how and what the people do. It's like, that's great. Everything here is all within the parameters for electrical or whatever, pneumatic, whatever it may be, but that doesn't apply here to these dirt folks, right? And so there's confusion that can be formed, and our goal is to remove the barriers, remove the confusion, allow them to do the best work possible.
I think that is such a fantastic way of looking at it, and the easy way of looking at it, honestly, because if you go into it and saying, I know that whatever safety processes and protocols they have weren't designed for me. So we're gonna enter with a open mind of saying, here are the things that we think are important. Are you okay with this? Rather than just realizing that I'm gonna have to fight this guy, right? Like we're going to battle day one. It's like, that is gonna kick off really bumpy.
Yeah, fire with fire is never usually turns out to work out. It's usually
So how do you manage your programs? Do you have folks, coordinators and so forth, and people on your team? Or do you so how many people do you have, and are they full-time? Are they part-time? Are they full-time on a location? How do you do the dailies?
Absolutely. So just real quick, 2023 is when I started with B&S. I walked in the door and I was the only safety professional at the time there. And in 2025, we now have 30 full-time safety professionals. We have 10 of them actively on a full-time site, given the requirements. So that's plus or minus, but those are things that we always have to deal with. And we played around with the staffing opportunities. And I think to what your point earlier was you kind of took a gamble. You don't know what you're getting. And everybody was like a hit or miss. And so then that puts
before us, at least.
Yeah.
Before us.
That's right. That's
right. You don't know exactly what you're getting with us. Trust me. But keep going.
And that's fine. And that's the real thing is we didn't know what we were getting. I saw GCs say the same thing. I saw owners reps say the same thing, and we'd all hire from the same people. It's like, you don't know who you're getting. And that was the problem. That's a little in a nutshell. That's how we're structured. We typically go for full-time. However, we can't ignore the fact that at the speed we're moving and at the rate we're getting projects, like, you need help scaling. It's just what it is. So we've had those conversations. We open to it whenever it's making sense. And right now we're about to hit the boom again. So it's going to be interesting.
It's exciting. It's funny. We did a program for a group. They're growing like crazy, just like you. A lot of people are doing really well. And it's really a nice thing. I mean, it's a great thing to be part of that, because you don't get that opportunity very often to really be part of a booming environment. There's a lot of business as usual kind of cycles. You can go through 10, 15 years of just, all right, well, this is, we need to find a way to do more with less and all that stuff. And right now, the challenge is finding quality people to help you execute on the work you're doing and do more efficiently, do the work, right? And so for us, what we've been doing is actually doing a cycling nationwide retainer of dollars, not people, and saying, we'll send a trainer out here, we'll do an assessor out here, we'll do full-time person there, and you can switch them out. And it's really a cool way of doing it. We've done it on a few projects now, and I think we might be onto something here, because we were trying to sell the way people wanted to buy, which is always my philosophy. Meet them where they are. I don't need to create a new model for people that don't even understand our model. And so somebody says, I want a full-time person. Great. We can get you a full-time person. But I've got one group that needs 15 people. And I said, well, why don't we just do a retainer for 15 people worth at this level? But you don't have to, you just move them around. And they're so excited about it. So
like allocated monies, right? Like you have an allocated amount, and how you use it, that's up to you, however you best see fit. And that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Cause like sometimes you're saying, okay, it's time of the year where we need to do annual inspections, and I need to do rigging, or I need to do my, whatever the requirements are. And that alone is going to use my budget for 3 months that I have allocated. And it's not even where I anticipated using it for, but I can, because there's budgets there. And so it's got, and that's, I think it's an interesting way for groups that like in our industry that don't have a clue what they're going to need in 6 months, because we don't know if it's going to be, like, do I need full-time staff? Do I need site walkthroughs? Somebody going to make me learn how to do electrical safety inspections, which I don't do, like, how do I do that? Like all that stuff. So that being said, so when you hire, so you've got 30 people, some more representation on the locations. Do you guys travel a lot? Like, do your full-time employees have to go and relocate or site surveys and do, on site?
It's inherent that if you're not on a full-time job, you have multiple, right? Like you're going to have to travel. Now, my philosophy is don't make people drive all over the East Coast. If you can, in which we do, when we hire, I look at it geographically and go, here's the amount of jobs they can cover within this radius that keeps them, one, not burning up their car or anything else, right? But makes them also efficient to hit the jobs in a timely manner, to be able to provide that face time with our owners and clients and our people. And that seems to work, right? Like it works. People like to not have to be out of town for months and years and whatever. I mean, if it comes up and that's what they like, we'll feed them, right? Here you go. But, most people, in my opinion, they don't, that's a hard thing to sell them on, is just get them to keep moving and moving and moving. So we regionally break out our folks and their coverage.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. I hired a guy recently. He's awesome. I came from Fastenal, and Fastenal is a great company, and we do a lot of work with them, and we do a lot of work for them on the safety side. And he was a sales rep for them, great accounts. And the reason he came here is because he didn't have to travel like he was. And it was interesting because even in the sales and business development side of the house, you are on the road a ton, and often that you don't have to be, but it's expected of you. And then before you know it, you're like, I missed my kids' birthdays, and I'm missing my anniversary, and and they're like, are you really going to fly down to someplace to do a $1,500 training that you could have hired somebody to do and miss your anniversary? Bad idea. Like there's a better way, man. Like yeah, seriously. I'm like, you'd pay it yourself to be there for your wife. Trust me, because you're going to pay more than that. So as we wrap up, this has been a fantastic conversation. I would like to ask just maybe a little bit of a human impact question of, you know, you're still early in your career. You're going to do amazing things. Obviously, you are a man who cares about people, and that's exciting. From a leader's perspective of something you've learned that you always remember to pass through to other people, is there like a leadership or trick or thought that you keep in your head that you think is, and you've given a couple already today, so if you don't have anything, but that you think would be interesting for our listeners to hear?
One, if so the coaching concept to me is the way to go. And Mike, I don't know if you've ever had executive coaching or anything like that before. It's been nothing but instrumental for me. And I suggest that every leader bite a little bit of the humble pie, go ahead and go through the process, become a little bit more self-aware than we were yesterday. Have that humility to know that you don't know everything, so don't act like it, type of deal. And just, again, it's not about us. We got to be there for everybody else. And that's really, being present has changed my life, or at least trying to be as present as possible. Life comes in at us, told you 3 kids, the company's booming. And so sometimes it will try and steal your attention, but recognizing that and then just being present is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we all can do. And that helps with the mental health, that helps with us succeeding, that helps with leading. To me, that's the goal. That's the golden carrot.
That's fantastic advice. Now, do you have a philosophy at home? And I'm working on it. I do not, and I should. And it's one of the things my wife and I talk about. Do you have a philosophy about unplugging at home? Are you able to do it?
We're constantly, it's a sliding scale, and I just ask for grace from my wife, letting her know that, hey, sometimes I'm going to maybe get an ugly face, and just know I don't mean it. Just know that that's where I'm at. And that has really helped our marriage not only be sustainable, but stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? The fact that you acknowledge it, that it's a problem in a relationship, you're way ahead of me. I'll tell you what. I'm 25 years in, and I'm still figuring shit out. So pardon my French, everybody. But that you're trying is the most important piece. So, well, man, Josh, I'm very, very pleased that you did this with us. I'm excited to talk to you and see you again. And thank you for being here.
No, Mike, thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it, and look forward to the next time we can talk, man.
That's it for today's episode of the Canary Report. If this conversation helped you reframe how you think about risk and safety, please do me a favor. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who needs to hear it. We're building a new category of safety and risk leadership, one that's faster and smarter. Leaders who aren't just empowered by tech, but whose wisdom is accelerated by it. To learn more about how Yellowbird's cutting-edge platform is empowering leaders to solve workplace safety and risk challenges faster, smarter, and at scale, visit goyellowbird.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Yellowbird pages to stay up to date. Until next time, lead with clarity, know first, and act fast.